Have you ever found yourself playing Deadlock thinking, where is my team? Why am I not farmed? He's so broken.
Oh my god.
Why is he so much better than me? But maybe it's not your team. Deadlock seems like a very hard game to get into, and everybody loves blaming their teammates. But 9 times out of 10, you could have done something differently to win the game. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you suck at Deadlock, and more importantly, how to fix them. Personally, I'm not a fan of Deadlock's standard keybind, so I think the first step to getting better at this game is to fix your keybinds. I'm going to use Apollo as a perfect example. So if you were using the standard keybinds, his abilities would be 1, 2, 3, 4. But his third ability, you can dash left and right. So say for example, I was using 3 to use that ability. How am I going to be able to press D and 3 at the same time? It just makes life so much harder. So I think if you fix your keybinds, 100% you'll become a better player. I'm going to go through the keybinds that I use. Personally, it worked for me. Obviously, you can choose your own keybinds, change it up. But for my first ability, I use Q, second ability E, third ability is mouse button 4, I believe, one of the side mouse buttons, and my ult is still 4. The rest of my keybinds are basically the same. My alternate cast mode is double tap, and I have the cast window at 0.22, just so you don't accidentally cast it on a teammate. I feel like it works best for me. And now where I put my 1, 2, 3 is on my items, because you're not going to be in many situations where you're going to need to press your movement keys and your item keys at the same time. And even if you do, I put my main items on 1, 2, 3. For example, metal skin, warp stone works perfectly. Healing Nova, these are just some examples of actives that I've put on to show what I'm doing. And then usually, if I have any more than 3 actives, my other actives are going to be Cultist and Fleetfoot or something like that. So V is my last one. And everything else is basically the same, but I've changed my melee from Q, obviously, to my next side mouse button. It's just really easy. If you get a parry off, then you can get your melee off straight away without worrying about moving your fingers. And I've also changed my parry to C, because personally, in any game that I play, I never use the F key. I always bind it off. I feel it's really uncomfortable to press. And my parry is also on my scroll wheel down, just because your fingers are always on your mouse and you're always ready. And chat wheel, but I don't really use the chat wheel anyway. So that's my keybinds. I think you should really consider changing yours up if you want to get to a higher level in this game. Reason number 2 why you suck at Deadlock. Deadlock matches your lanes based on your MMR, so when the game puts you in a lane, it's usually because it thinks you belong there skill wise. When you randomly swap lanes at the start, you're basically breaking that system, and that's often why you suddenly feel like you're up against someone way better than you, because you probably are. This is even worse when you're playing with teammates. If you and your mate swap lane, now one of you is likely fighting someone above your level, and the whole lane balance falls apart. So unless you have an actual plan, like a matchup or a strategy, stop lane swapping, stick to your lane, learn the matchup, and play the fight you were given, instead of creating a harder one for yourself. Reason number 3, you don't farm efficiently. Creep waves give you the most souls at every stage of the game, early, mid and late. It doesn't matter what minute you're at, waves are always your most reliable income. So when you're laning, you should be confirming and denying as many creeps as possible. Every soul you miss is going towards the enemy. Once you've pushed your lane, you shouldn't just stand there and do nothing. That's when you run box routes or steal enemy camps. Small camps and boxes spawn at 2 minutes, medium camps spawn at 6 minutes, and the big camps spawn at 8 minutes. So there's always something to do after you've pushed your wave. The key is to always push the wave first and then farm backwards. Lane, jungle or boxes, and then back to your lane. Make sure you're always back on lane to get the next wave. Efficient farming is how you win games. If you're stuck farming a tier 3 camp at 8 minutes instead of catching a creep wave, you're wasting time and souls for your team. When you farm a wave, don't just clear that one wave and leave. You should always make sure you push the second wave as well so it crashes into the enemy's tower or walker. It keeps your towers healthy, and it means that you can go and gain souls somewhere else. Deadlock's about momentum, so if you're skipping waves or farming inefficiently, you're literally choosing to be weaker than the enemy. Farm properly and you'll win more games. It's literally that simple. If you're playing Deadlock and you're literally just using your dash jump and that's the only piece of movement kit that you're using, then that is definitely why you suck at Deadlock. There's a few things that you need to know. More advanced players are going to know this, but if you suck at Deadlock, that's why you're watching this video. So, first you have your dash jump. That's fine. Everybody knows how to do that. You need to start incorporating wall bounces to save your stamina. If you're getting chased, you're saving your stamina, and you can get out of so much more situations. Simple to learn. Just keep using it in your games, and you'll get it a lot quicker than you think you will. Next one is the mantle slide. If you climb over any surface and you hold your crouch button, you're going to slide. It gives you a bit of momentum, can save you in so many situations. You can combine your mantle slide with a corner boost. So if you mantle slide into a corner and boost off the corner, you literally just need to slide and jump. Did not work that time, but you get the gist. Eventually you'll get it. Anytime you wall bounce off of a corner, you'll go farther than you would if you just bounced off a normal wall. Another piece of tech is a vent boost. If you catch the vent and press jump against the wall at the right time, you will get absolutely sent flying. Quite hard to get the hang of it, so just keep trying. Eventually, if you practice it enough, you will get it. If you hit it at the right angle, you can go flying through there, deliver the urn insanely fast. Another piece of kit is the edge boost. If you hit a corner at the right angle, struggling to hit it here, it will send you flying up in the air. The easiest way to hit this is if you climb over something small, like thin, then you get your edge boost straight away when you fall and hit the corner. I like to use it when I'm catching buffs. Only takes 1 stamina. You don't need to hit the rope. So once you combo these all together, there's plenty of movement guides out there that you can learn. Once you get your movement in check, then you'll turn into a completely different player. Reason number 5 why you suck at Deadlock is timings. You're not being where you need to be when you need to be there. The buffs spawn 5 minutes. At 4.5 minutes, you need to push the wave as fast as you can so you can be at the buff when it spawns. If you get a buff in lane and you get a spirit buff or a health buff or a gun buff, it can literally turn your lane around. The next timing is 8 minutes. Sinner sacrifices spawn, and you want to be stealing as many of these as you possibly can. But if you love gambling as much as I do, it shouldn't be too hard. The buffs you get from these can stack so much over the course of the game and make such a difference late game. If you punch a Sinner Sacrifice, when all the lights on the top are fully lit up, you will get 4 buffs, which is actually pretty insane if you think about it. They also basically give you as many souls as a wave does. The next timer is 10 minutes. Mid boss and the urn both spawn at 10 minutes. You don't really need to worry about mid boss because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be taking mid-boss at 10 minutes. The urn spawns every 5 minutes then, after the first initial 10 minutes. You need to be running the urn. If you even have a 5k soul lead on the enemy team and you run the urn, you're going to force a fight. And theoretically, if you're 5k ahead, you should win this fight. And once you win that fight and get the urn, you will just start the snowball and you'll be on your way to having a massive soul lead throughout the whole game. You need to run the urn. A lot of people in lower ranks do not run the urn, but it's so important. Reason number 6 why you suck at Deadlock. You're just following your builds from left to right. You should be counter buying the enemy. For example, if the enemy has a lot of healing, like Victor, Abrams or Geist, you should be buying a heal bane or toxic bullets, something like that that counteracts healing. If you're against spirit heroes like Mina or Pocket, buy spirit shielding. If they have roots or grabs like Bebop or Page, buy reactive barrier. Stop following your builds from left to right and start counter buying the enemy. There are plenty of videos out there on what counters what. If you learn the item shop, you will feel 10 times better than you are, but when in reality you're just buying the right items. Also, never be afraid to buy a healing right. 7. Start using your minimap. Not enough people in this game look at their minimap. Take this game for example. There's nobody pushing the right lane, but somehow there's still a wave crashing into our walker. We have blue lane pushed up. The dynamo could be in the enemy jungle stealing sinners, and he could communicate that as well if you just looked at his map. Not enough people in this game look at their map and think what they should be doing. When you look at your map, think what you should be doing and use your words to communicate your team to come and help you do what you want to do. For example, steal sinners or take the enemy camp. You've got your lane pushed up. Just take map space and take farm so the enemies can't get it. I was definitely shouting at the Venator in this game to get back to lane. Reason number 8 why you suck at Deadlock is because you do not know how to use your parry. The first tip I'm going to give you is if you're in lane and you're trying to roll into someone to parry them meleeing a minion, you can only parry at the end of your roll, so it's not very good. They can just get their melee off on you before you end your dash. But if you air dash and parry, you can literally travel with your parry. You're definitely going to catch a few people off guard with this, so start using this in your laning phases or even mid fights. This is also a pretty obvious tip, I'm sure everybody knows, but you can run up, parry a tower, and it'll be stunned for a few seconds. Very useful if you want to dive lanes. Let me get this. Want to dive lanes, so if anybody's weak, you can literally just jump in, parry the tower, and if they're one, just go in and kill them. It will not take you long to learn how to dash, jump, and parry a tower. So that's an extra tip. And the biggest tip for me about parrying is if you're low health and somebody is near you, there's a 70% chance that they're going to try and either light melee you or heavy melee you, especially if they're low on ammo. If you hear them reloading, they're probably going to try and melee you. So anytime I'm near somebody, or I see somebody coming in on me, or for example, if I'm Pocket, if I'm playing Pocket, where the fuck?
I wish there was another way.
If you do a combo on someone, you're gonna throw a light melee in between your combo. So if somebody's trying to combo you, like Pocket, for example, he does it quite a lot. Calico, if Calico does this, she's gonna throw a light melee in between, so you can parry that. What other heroes are good for it? Bebop, usually if Bebop grabs you, say Bebop grabs you, he's gonna put melee you and then do that. I'm gonna have a more in-depth video about parrying and for each character when the most likely time to parry is. So if you want to see that video, let me know, but please start using your parries correctly. Parry buffs when buffs are up. If Graves has her ult, she is going to parry you when you try and break that ult, and when you are playing Graves you should do the exact same thing, but I'm going to have a lot more in-depth video on that at a later date. 9. Stop picking the wrong fights and pick the right ones. Stop trying to fight people who are way more farmed than you. I know you do it because I do it, we all do it. You forget to look at somebody's souls and you're already in the fight, but just pay attention. Start fighting the people that are weaker than you. The more fights that you have in this game, the better you'll get. It'll improve your skill and your game sense. But not if you're trying to fight a Fed Abrams who's going to punch you in the next week. Also pick fights when you know the enemy has no cooldowns. Start to pay attention to the enemy's cooldowns. If a Yamato has used her Power Slash on a camp and she has no ult, that's when you know she has no kit to fight back. If you have all your cooldowns available and she has none, 9 times out of 10 you're going to win that fight, as long as she's not 50k souls and you're 30. Pick the right moment and you will win more fights than you ever have. The 10th and final reason why you suck at Deadlock: your power spikes. You don't fight after buying your power spikes. Each character hits a certain point in their build when they get strong. When you buy your power spikes, you should be looking for a pick or a fight. Imagine yourself playing as Yamato and you're fighting with Mystic Reverb, or imagine yourself you're in Furnace and you buy Toxic Bullets and you're fighting with it. Now imagine yourself without these items and 6k in your pocket. I know what one I'd prefer. Fight when you're strong and farm when you're weak. The final tip that I can give you is watch people who are better than you play the game. There's so many people out there that do great educational content, like Deathy or Piggy for example, and there's players like Zergy who are that good at the game that they'll probably show you something you've never seen before every time you watch them play. Thank you for watching my video, and good luck in the cursed apple.